The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Wednesday, the 18th day of October 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, and Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. He's Roger Denbrook, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Raj, what's popping, brother?
Good morning, Mr. Hartman. I'm back on the Daily Hour. I feel great. You didn't scare me off.
Mr. Hartman, I am more mature than you in years haven't been on Earth, but I mean, what's this Mr. Hartman nonsense?
If the shoe fits, sir. I mean, I see a few grays poking out. I know.
No, that would be Teo.
You're aging. No. I mean, denial is a very natural response to this aging process thing. However, sir, just saying, you're looking good, though. I mean, don't worry.
Raj is on the phone today. So what you been doing? What's up, man? How's things? I'm
all right, man. Okay, so right before we came on, I mentioned I'm doing Serafina because, I'm insane. And it's going to be an amazing show, not to do a shameless plug, but...
Yeah, you didn't invite me.
No, of course, you have you always have I have a seat already saved for you, Janelle.
Okay, all right.
But the rehearsal, I mean, this is probably the most challenging show I've ever done.
What are the dates for it?
But 1st to the 4th.
1st to the 4th.
Yeah.
I will be in Bermuda those dates. So, yeah, hopefully I can come and see you perform, Raj. Yeah.
It's gonna be an incredible show. Like, I'm so impressed with the talent, but I mean, I'm 130, son. They got me out here dancing in ways and moving in ways that I don't think I should be. And you're
catching me up, eh? You're catching me up. You're not no spring chicken no more, Raj.
Hey, I have learned.
Well, no, seriously, I'm looking forward to checking you out and in the play. And folks, hopefully we'll have some more information to share with you so you can get out and support the young people. I remember when I was young and I thought I wanted to do theater and so on. And people would push you so far. Oh, well, there's no opportunities in Bermuda and this and that. I love to see stage plays in Bermuda. I love to see people who have the ability and skills to entertain in that space, being able to do it at home. We need to get out and support them. I've been to Broadway shows, having lived in New York, and I've seen some performances in Bermuda from a child. And my nana used to take us to the pantomime and various different things. And I'm going to be honest with you. There's pretty much no difference in the acting and the performances. Bermudians know how to get down. So I hope, Raj, that we can get a good crowd and people out there to support it. And folks, some Daily Hour rules. If you see Raj, no throwing tomatoes and fruit at him, all right?
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's kind of you to say. That's fair.
Because they know if it was me, zoos, it won't be no rules, Raj.
That's fair. Okay, if I do have anything thrown at me, at least I know who it would be.
Who would it be?
I mean, you did jack up my hair when I was 6, 7. If you're willing to publicly humiliate me like that,
Raj, that was 20 years ago. I mean, Maya witnessed the apology to you. At least I apologized without being forced to.
There was a part B. It's not over. We're not done.
Oh.
We're going to open up Rajay's barbershop.
You know what? 2 hours. Let's change the topic, Raj.
You thought I forgot. You thought I forgot. I didn't forget nothing. Memory like an elephant, son. Don't forget nothing.
Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of the daily routine. A good one today as we forget about what Roger is talking about because we're welcoming Aaron Crichlow on. I love what they're doing. Bermuda is Love. They're actually doing, and Maya has actually shared it in quite a few of her news breaks, if you've been paying attention, their housing campaign. And I don't know, I mean, I had a chance to read it on a couple of news sites, and their social media has been active. So, folks, I encourage you to tune in because you know, with all that's going on in the world, and I have been reading more and more of what's going on in the Middle East, groups like Bermuda is Love are needed. Like, humanity is getting lost as people pick sides in battles. And I think as long as we have this platform and they show up, I want to ensure that we have these conversations and find ways to improve our community. You know, I have a quote on my email signature, right? And basically, the quote is speaking to, you know, when I depart this earth, my hope is that I would have done enough to basically help society's most vulnerable. And, you know, it was this thing when I was in the regiment. Yes, I was actually in there, folks. That, you know, you're only as strong as the weakest link. So if, you know, one of your people is struggling, you pick them up and carry them with you, right? And that's how we look at community. And that's what I see within Bermuda is Love, is like, look, we are going to help our most vulnerable so that we can live a certain way. So looking forward to the conversation. The Daily Play is music today. You think you got this, Raj?
We'll see.
Okay.
It's hit or miss.
All right, hit or miss. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, let's just jump right into it. And we've got Karen Simmons saying, good morning, TDH, and happy birthday to my former TDH student, amazing hospitality, food and beverage, and TDH supporter, Ebony Souza. Happy birthday to you, Ebony.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, Raj, go ahead, hold on.
Happy birthday. Oh, that was it. That's what we were doing.
That's the super short version, Raj.
I'm here for it. Actually, no, that's expedient and impactful. And
yeah. You got to make it quick. You know, they don't listen long, right? But also, I think Angeline Butler, she came to TDH restaurant crawl. She had a birthday recently, so happy birthday to her. And anyone else who's tuned in and you're celebrating a birthday, please make it your best birthday yet. But let's just jump right into the conversation. So there's so many different ways we can go through this, but there's so much happening in our community before we turn the TV on and look at the news outside. A couple weeks ago, we saw what was happening with the candy store and students, right? And then there were videos of fights and students. We have a farmer who Maya interviewed recently is basically wants to pack up shop and close, you know, because of the red tape with government. We have people leaving in droves despite there being, I mean, I remember in June, Maya was like, we're on record pace. I think we were at 11 road fatalities. Thankfully, we have not, we've slowed that down and we haven't had road fatalities over the last couple months. But our community is reeling. Our community is reeling. People not being able to pay bills. People still very concerned about utilities bills and the like. There seems to be a growing gap between the upper and lower. And I say that because the middle is becoming naught, right? So I guess the question of the morning, folks, this is a deep one too. How can Bermuda's community values be developed for the present? And that can mean so many things. How can Bermuda's community values be developed for the present? Because it almost seems like the people we thought that would help us as a community, once they got understood how much they could get paid by taking care of themselves, they forgot about community. My biggest concern with this, Roger, it may take everyone for a flip, is the backbone of our community used to be our community clubs. At least where I grew up and when I grew up, that used to be the backbone of our community. And unfortunately, what I've seen from a sports perspective in our community clubs is, and I'm just going to say it, a lot of the white-run clubs took some of our best coaches, took some of our best young players. We've seen different schools, your alma mater, Work Academy, Salters, we've seen them actually create their own football teams, to have them in leagues, which took more children away from playing at community clubs. And this is not just sport, but think of the impact that that has on community clubs. Now, for years, people have said that, well, people in community clubs have taken money from them and this and that. Honestly, I don't know how rich you're going to get from taking money from a community club. If it's been done, I guess there's people who are just really hard off. But I think when I think about community values, I think of the backbones of our community, which were our community clubs. We're talking throughout the island. My home club was North Village Community Club. But how can they be developed for the present? We need to take our community back. And that simply means all those children and coaches that have gone elsewhere, we need to do what we can to bring them back in the fold, because if they're of value elsewhere, think of what value they'll bring to us. So we need to, one, people keep saying, bring Bermudians back to Bermuda, bring Bermudians back home. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think the brain drain or the cultural drain, however you want to phrase it, is such a good example of how we've lost community. If you feel like you literally you don't feel valued in your own country, and so much so that that's reflected culturally that you have to leave, I think that's the perfect example and the perfect symptom of something has broken down on the community level here, right? I'm going to count to 7. I have a book and I have to grab it, right? It's relevant. 7.
Roger's going to grab a book. So while he grabs a book and I'm counting to 7.
Bang, 3 seconds.
Oh, okay. He didn't make it to 7. He did 3.
Bang.
Sorry.
So you started with talking about the social clubs, right? This is one of my favorite books ever. It's called Black Clubs in Bermuda. It's the only real ethnographic study of the island, and it's done at the island social clubs. Wow. It is an incredible outline of us and study of Black life in Bermuda. I've never read anything like it or near it. So we have a bunch of wonderful academics like Keto Swan, Theo Francis, Clarence Maxwell, who look at history. Mm-hmm. This is sociology. This is ethnography, and it centers on the Black clubs, and it makes it very clear how important our social clubs were to developing and sort of unifying Black life in the country. And the predecessors to that were the friendly societies. Without the friendly societies, the Black community in this country would not be where it is today. Friendly societies gave us our first mortgages, loan schemes, healthcare, schools, emancipation celebrations, comp match, and the social clubs even came out of the friendly societies. And the friendly societies are such a profound example of community, and we've lost that too.
Well, Raj, real quickly, where can we get that book? Because I had no idea a book like this was written when I literally stated. When Raj gave me this question yesterday, I said, I know where I'm going, because the backbone of Bermuda's community used to be our clubs, our Black clubs, our community clubs. Even some of the clubs our grandparents and uncles and aunts came up with when they earned the Breakfast Club and the like, right? Where they helped each other buy homes. To me, that's where our community, once we got not rid of them, but moved away from them, we started going like this, right? It became this competing nature. Nothing wrong with competing. Let me be clear. But once we became competitive with one another, there was only one group that was going to win and dominate. We should have kept going, not just to build homes. Homes are not the equity we think they are. We needed to build industry. We need to build banks, reinsurance companies, right? That's what we needed to do. But folks, the question of the morning, and come on, well, let's ask a yes or no question. How many people in the audience today belong to a community club previously or now? And what was that community club? Raj, have you or your family ever belonged to a community club in Bermuda? If so, what?
My great-grandpa played cricket. Rajay, shut up. Was on the comp match team for St. George's back in the 50s. And so my dad's side, I grew up at St. George's Cricket Club. A lot of Saturdays and Sundays, I was down there under the bleachers watching the game, or at the bar when I wasn't supposed to be, getting the Shirley Temple, or in the games room wreaking havoc. And that space was such an integral part of who I am and my sense of community. And if I didn't have that growing up, my sense of community would be completely different.
Oh, indeed. I remember, Raj. So I grew up around North Village. And I remember when I returned to Bermuda 2007 and 10, and Elliot Jennings, a former player, said to me, "Oh, Hartman, you're coaching. Good to see you giving back." And for me, it was like, I appreciated him saying that, right? But I thought it was only natural that you come to give back to, your community club. I thought that was the natural progression. Like, how they say you go to school, you go to college, you grow up, you go to college, you got a job. I thought giving back to your community was natural progression. That's why I've always done it. I thought, hey, look, I love football. Let me give back on the football side. That's what I grew up around. My uncles all were involved in some respect, be it coaching, be it being the person who cleaned up the club or whatnot. Friends, uncles, and family, they took care of the fields and different things, but it gave you a sense of this is our community club. We all have to play a role. It wasn't just about drinking at a bar or, playing pool or getting together to chat shop. It was actually, what are we doing to move this forward and embrace our community and enhance what young people are going to do in the community? That's what there were lessons upon lessons in it, Raj.
And there were, and I mean, look, I say this all the time. I was born in 1990, and I feel like the sense of community in the 90s, I think that's where everything peaked. I did the 90s 0 to 10, but the sense of community that I had when I was a child, and I don't think it was because I was a child, it was completely, there was no way you could feel unsafe walking around. There was no way you could feel alone back in the 90s. It was completely different. And then the new millennium hit and things just started to go all right. I don't know if it was the introduction of technology because, phones make things feel personal, but impersonal at the same time, right? It's not real connection. And then everything became so much more about personality and building up your own profile. So, and I hate this stupid influencer culture. I hate the word. Like, what does that even mean? and then during COVID, the word became content. So you can't even post just anything for fun anymore. It has to be curated. So
it takes away the authenticity, right?
Right, exactly. And I feel like and in community, everything is about authenticity. I made a few notes last night when I was thinking, like, so if community is breaking down, so what does community give you, right? So a sense of belonging,
a
sense of identity, a sense of security,
Yep.
and a sense of self-esteem, like a sense of I matter. So if community is breaking down, you lose those things, right? You lose a sense of belonging, you lose a sense of identity, you lose your sense of security, and the sense of I matter. And I think about my young people a lot. So I had a young man walk onto my property the other day to take something. Now,
without permission?
Without permission, right? So I know my young people. I know my young people. So I went outside. I was like, "Hey," he's like, "Hey, what's up, Unc?" Well, apparently, I'm old enough to be called Unc, right? For some, right?
Raj got Unc.
I'm Unc. I'm Unc Raj. He's like, "What's up, Unc?" I said, "Yeah." I was like, "Mate, what are you doing?" It was like, "Oh, can I use this gas canister?" And I was like, "Listen, all you had to do was knock on my door and ask." I would say, chances are, I'm gonna say yes. But bro, but also, do you realize you just broke the law? You trespassed on my property. And if I felt like calling the man right now, I could. And then that would be and it's like, "No, I'm sorry. And he was like, "I'll bring it right back." I said, "Cool." But I was driving down the street about an hour afterwards and I saw him and I stopped the car and we just had a really nice chat. And I just had this idea of, when's the last time anybody really stopped to talk to him? If this young man really felt like he was connected to his community, there's no way he's just going to walk onto somebody's property and take something.
Well, you know what, Raj? What you just did, that's community right there.
Exactly.
That you just literally explained for the audience what community is. And, it's really about helping one another. You could have literally given this young man a criminal record. Right?
Yeah, but what good would that have done?
Exactly. And that's, I want you to repeat before this show is over, just those key words, belonging, self-esteem, all of that you mentioned. in terms of community, I think needs to stick with the audience. Again, I did ask, are you a member of a community club, or have you or your family ever been a member of a community club? And what club? Raj, St. George's Cricket Club, myself, Noah Village. Angeline Butler says, yes, a member of Young Men's Social Club, head of the scholarship committee. There you go. Misha Fabulous says, personally, no, but my family was involved in the friendly societies. What's interesting, Raj, is most people only hear about the friendly societies when it comes to the foundations of Cotton Match. So that was actually very good information that I hope sticks with people. I believe I may have asked, but we need our hands on that book, Raj. Where'd you get it from?
It's out of print. But somebody did get me 3 extra copies because they love me very much.
So your boys could pay you for one?
Oh, no, you can have it.
Thank you, Raj. We appreciate you.
Charles, need hardback?
No, that's a book we all need. Sean Smith says, PhD in the Lappets Club when I was living in Bermuda. Let's talk about the Lappets Club, because Lappets Club's another club my family was involved in. And I went there recently in July. My uncle's birthday, we met around there. And there's a building attached to it, and it used to be apartments, I believe. That shouldn't be happening. All of us, who supported or had family members part of that club, we shouldn't allow these things to break down and happen like that. And so when you put the question out there, and no one's really answered it yet, how can Bermuda's community values be developed for present day Bermuda? Well, for one, maybe we need to rebuild our community clubs, the institutions that created the pathways for us to have the opportunities that we have today. Traveling Trotty says, I'm not a member of a club. However, my grandmother was the first female commodore of the Mid-Atlantic Boat Club. Wow, congratulations to you. That's pretty cool. Charles H. Jefferson II says, I didn't grow up as a part of a community club, but my church, First Church of God, Angle Street, I had some days there, was my community and was my neighborhoods, Parsons Road and Hermitage Road. Okay. Cherie Dill says, back to basics, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It covers it all. Talk to us, Raj. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ms. Dill hit the nail on the head. We need to return back to basics, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I think the question implies that we have to intentionally create our experience of community. We mm-hmm. can't do it passively. It needs to be something that we do on purpose, and it has to be a choice. And this idea of do unto others as you would have them to do unto you is a very simple idea that I live by. Mm. If I don't want you to treat me like in ways that I don't like, or better yet, be the change that you want to see in the world. Yeah. Again, it's it's become very cliche, but it's true. If you want something if you want the world to be a certain way, you model that for your community and uncompromisingly. And it's not easy, because I'm a lot of the times I'm interpreted as the nice guy and blah, blah, blah. And then I have to tell people or demonstrate to people I am actually not the one. So let's not go down that route, right? And that's tiring. And that can harden you really quickly, But I really think it's a great idea. I want to read something really, really quick, if that's okay. Mm-hmm. This idea of how community is really important. So it's from this book, The Healing Wisdom of Africa. I love this book. It's really, really good. Whether they are raised in indigenous or modern culture, there are 2 things that people crave: the full realization of their innate gifts and to have these gifts approved, acknowledged, and confirmed. Mm. This implies that our own inner authority needs the fuel of external recognition to inspire us to fulfill our life's purpose. And until this happens, we wait in paralysis for the redemptive social response that rescues us from the dungeon of anonymity.
Roger, and you just spoke. Tell me if this aligns with what you just read. You just spoke to what I was going to say and go back to what you said about this influencer culture. That we live in a time where we don't do things because we're consciously believe it's right. We do things for a response. We do things to feel good. Just think about Trevor and Darlene Ming did an interview with, her name is Felicia. She is homeless in Bermuda. And, the amount of complaints, and I understand what Trevor's trying to do. He's trying to highlight the situation in Bermuda, which we'll be talking to Aaron Crichlow about. The challenge is people will bitch, they'll moan and complain about this, that, and the other, but we are so, think about how many people will tune into all of the information you shared today versus if it was messy. If it was messy and, gossipy and just crazy, tuning in and they'll be complaining about you, what you're saying and whatnot. But when it's education, it's helpful and it's community, we don't give it a second thought. I'll never forget the time when Dr. Crichlow resigned, right? And she came on this show the following Monday. I mean, people were tuned in. It was one of our most watched shows ever, 2,000 people, whatever. I'm like, man, but we have a guest like Aaron Crichlow coming this morning, where we're talking about a community conversation, and it's not that same response. Why, Raj? Because of what you just read, because of what you said earlier, right? It all ties into this influencer social media age where we only care about likes, clicks, and what makes us feel good, what not actually is good.
Yes, we're here for the dopamine.
Pretty much. Suzanne Ingham says, Garden Club. Maya actually gave you some advice, Raj. You saw what advice she gave you?
No, I missed it.
She said, you have books? You better rent it out. Such a business person. Ain't she an entrepreneur?
You are busy. I'm more. What's the word? I'm more. What's the word I'm looking for? Philanthropic. So I'll just be.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to the capitalistic framework.
Let's bring Maya in for the Daily Hour news break. And don't forget, Aaron Crichlow coming up. Really good conversation. I really do hope you all share the link. This is a community, and it's not a problem. I don't necessarily. It's a community.
It's an opportunity.
Opportunity for us to help our most vulnerable. So looking forward to that conversation. Stick with us.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, Maya, how are you?
I'm not saying you have to be a part of the capitalist mindset and make people pay for it, but don't just give away the books. Like, hey, you take it for a week. But
we can use the donation. We can make a donation, right?
No, you have to. I just think it's a piece of history, and you've kept it with you for this long and kept it safe. Some people just aren't as responsible. I'm not talking about you, Jamal. But
no, you can say it. You know who I am.
Keep the history.
You know who I am. I'll be like, giving it back to you, Raj. Jamal, why does it have dog ears on it? Sorry, Raj. I just forgot it in my bag.
I have 4 copies of the book.
Okay.
You can have one.
Thank you.
And Maya has given me very effective advice, and I will fully consider it.
But Maya, honestly, I was shocked that a book had been written about this, because when Raj sent me the topic for today, I'm like, oh, I'm going straight to the community clubs, right? And this brother literally pulls the book. He didn't know where I was going with it, but he pulls a book up about it. So I'm fascinated, and I really cannot wait to read it. Seriously.
Yeah, I love that. And just like a quick hint too, like normally when I pick up my Bermuda books, I always seem to get them from the thrift stores, especially the Bond. The Bond has so much good Bermuda books. And then I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I think the Bermuda Library actually had like this big, huge sale of like $1, $2 for books. And I was like, man, like I couldn't get there. And I was like so upset because they had the Flame, which I had just actually got from the library, and they were selling it for $1. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Wow. So I might have hit these because I'm gonna hit them when I'm back in Bermuda. So the Barn, and where else?
The Barn's where I normally go for books. And who has another book selection? The Barn's the main one. Like they have a really the book collection is a lot more extensive than the other thrift stores.
We're hitting the Barn, and I'll be stopping by Rogers to get my new book, Black Club in Bermuda. What you got for us today, Maya?
Well, good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Now, listening right now, if you have ever had a stolen vehicle or had your vehicle ever impounded, have you collected that vehicle? Because right now, the police are saying that registered owners, please claim impounded vehicles by November 6th, or they will be disposed of. So the Bermuda Police Service currently has about 57 motorcycles in the Prospect Devonshire impound, and about half, so 29, are listed as recovered stolen motorcycles, actually. So their priority is always to reach out to people first. They've attempted to, but people can change the numbers throughout that time as well. So these they're just waiting for people to come and collect these. And if you don't buy again, November 6th, they will be disposed of. So unfortunately, such efforts were unsuccessful to, contact these people due to, not available contact information. But you can also look online to see if that vehicle might be yours. If you go to gov.bm/the official gazette, and you can, kind of find out. You can also go there yourself. But they actually put on their Instagram, the Bermuda Police Service, like the whole list. This is just one of them. But if you go to their Instagram, you could swipe across, and they put the whole list there. So if you're one of these people, if that registers to something that and you want your vehicle back, message them.
I mean, why wouldn't you want the vehicle back? I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, that's the case there. In other news, when it comes to an investigation that continues to happen because there's such a splat of just burglaries going on the island right now, which have impacted a number of businesses across the island, and the Bermuda Police Service wish to remind members of the public that it is a crime to purchase or receive stolen goods. Should you be approached by individuals offering items for sale, particularly high-end electronic items, you should ask for proof of ownership. If you suspect the item is stolen, you should probably call the police at 211. And remember that under the Criminal Code Act of 1907, a person guilty of handling stolen goods shall be liable on summary conviction to a fine of $10,000 or to imprisonment for 5 years or both, and on conviction or on indictment to a fine of $150,000 or imprisonment for 14 years or both. The acting detective superintendent Sharon Joseph stated, "We would like to thank members of the public who have provided information to us in relation to these matters. That assistance has resulted not only in the recovery of several of the items stolen, but also in the arrest of a number of suspected believed to be responsible for these crimes." Since this incident started in January 2023, 4 stolen motorcycles and a large quantity of items believed to be stolen have been recovered. And get this at the end, 12 persons have been arrested in connection with these matters. One man has since been brought before the courts and pleaded guilty, and he was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment and 18 months probation after release with conditions.
I guess my question is, are there any social inquiry reports being done to see, and I'm not making excuses for them, but why are they stealing? Because again, people are hard up right now, and I'm just wondering, are these people suffering from something? Like, are they mentally, is something wrong, or is it just them responding to the economic situation in Bermuda?
That's a good question. I believe that's something that might actually be brought up within the courts when these cases come to the court, on whether or not that person needs like social evaluation and things like that. So I know that does happen within the courts. Doesn't say exactly in this press statement though whether or not that's happened.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
As a reminder again that, October, we're already halfway through. It is Art Month, so if you're able to go and support any of the artists with their upcoming ventures this month, this is Bermuda's first ever one, to please do so. I myself will probably go to the Jake Given Museum exhibit today, so that's something that I'm planning to do. But in more unrelated news, we heard about Malachi Simons, the farmer, and there's some stories that are going around at the present time. So there is a story that I recently watched on the Bermuda broadcast, and that gives some insight to, Malachi's plight with the government and how on his journey to sustainable and food security, there has been a message from the government saying that the Ministry of Public said that the farmer Simons was not compliant with rules in lease termination, and it was all over a chicken coop on the property. So, which Mr. Simons actually said was in his bid for the land, which he won. So he, assumptions made that, well, this was in my bid, I won, there's something I can do, but apparently not. So there was some stipulations that matter. I did have a conversation with Malachi before the protest that happened at Kinley Field, and it was quite a long discussion, and I used a short clip of it for my story on the protest. So I will be diving into that more and giving you guys a full synopsis of what happened and the conversation that I had with Malachi and, what the government's kind of saying right now. But it is a story, basically, I would say, from his perspective and the perspective of the people of Bermuda, about control, really.
Interesting. We'll probably talk about that in subsequent episodes as well.
Awesome. Now, yesterday in our sports-related news, Bermuda tied to Belize yesterday. I was there at that match, and it was a frustrating match, to say the least. Bermuda had ample chances to, get that ball behind the net plenty of times. And luckily, though, they had a really good crowd. There was over 800 people that were in the stands. And Kane Crichlow scored the only goal for Bermuda, as he did in the game prior. So he has 2 goals set against Belize for Bermuda. I got to speak to some of our, athletes, some of the players after the game. And here's a quick video from, what they had to say. Tie was not the outcome that you were looking for.
Yeah.
So what's the feelings that you're feeling right now?
You know, it's not the best feeling. You know, we were looking into the camp to go in for the 6 points by the end of it. But if we can't win, we don't lose. You know, so the end goal isn't out the picture yet, but next window is just must win for both games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Next time you have to win the next 2 games.
St. Vincent next in November, and then that's gonna determine the outcome.
What do you think was I don't want to say downfall, but what was the reason for that?
It's been progress, and from the first game, you know, it's getting better. It's the execution, and that was the game plan tonight, was to execute. We didn't fulfill that 100%, but, you know, to pick ourselves up and go again.
The team looks a lot different than what we're normally used to. I know we got a new coach right now, so a lot of sort of new players, like new faces I'm seeing out there. How's that team dynamic? How's it going right now with the new coach?
It's been a good mixture with the youth and the seniors, you know, and that's what it's about. It's a new generation coming up, and the seniors are still around to, you know, push them along and make the transition.
How do you feel about your performance tonight?
To be honest, I barely had anything to do. You know, they got the one lucky penalty and they put it home. So credit to them because they never gave up. They came running every chance they got. Although we had more chances, more possession, they finished it off. We need to learn how to execute.
What do you think the team needs to do in order to win these next 2 games?
Score. Yeah, pretty much score. Obviously, like, it would help if we didn't concede, but we had a lot of chances. We just need to start executing and putting them away, and it will come. Like, I can see it will come. More chances were created today than in the last 2 games, we'll say. So yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but you know, hey, you go again.
Yep. And I mean, they got 1 point on the board so you know, that's lucky. But, you know, if they would have won that game, they would have been seated in, well, sort of tied for first, but second, you know, because of the goal differences. But right now, I haven't taken a look, but I'm not sure where they sit right now, but they have to win the next 2 games. So good luck to them. You know, it's like, you know, make it through within this league and tournament. All right, so looking at the weather today, it's going to be cloudy, occasional rain and showers developing this afternoon. So if you're on a bike, please pack your raincoat. And I say that, and I know I probably won't, but pack your raincoat if you're on a bike. And we have a high of 80 degrees.
All right, thank you so much, Maya. What's the days of the year today, Rob? Something good?
Today is chocolate cupcake day.
Ha!
Go do it.
An excuse.
And I love to bake. So you best believe I'm gonna find an hour today to make my chocolate cupcakes.
Really?
I want a cup of tea.
Are you gonna make one for can you make one for Maya so she could taste test it for you?
It's okay. I don't really like cake.
Great.
All right. So let's ask the audience. Audience, what's your favorite kind of cupcake? Let us know. I mean, you don't like any kind of cake, man?
If I had to eat a cake, it's gonna be a cheesecake, and it's gotta have like the nice, like, you know, with the fruit and berries and the whole shebang.
Okay.
Yeah, you know.
Here for it. Okay, cool.
What's your favorite kind of cake, Raj?
I'm a classic. I like a classic yellow cake. You use a lot of butter. It's nice and moist. Yeah.
It tastes like sponges, man.
No, you got to make it right. Nah, it's not a sponge. It's nice. It's melted in your mouth. It's just like, oh, if you do it right.
We have red velvet in the audience. Elephant 999. That's favorite cake. You got chocolate molten. Burmy girl says. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have. I guess carrot cake, but it has to be moist. It can't be dry.
Cake. I mean, yo, that's delicious.
You know what? Yeah, I mess with carrot cake.
You too, if you're mature palates. Like what?
Yeah, chocolate. Thank you so much. We'll see you later. Put that rain suit on, please.
Yeah, see you later.
All right, folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We're coming back with Aaron Crichlow. Very important conversation. Please share it. WhatsApp, friends, family, share the conversation. It is a community conversation. It is a community opportunity, as Rajay said. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Hey, welcome back to the big show. I'm Jamel Hartman. He's Roger Denbrook. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Please don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring our guest in for the day. We've got Aaron Crichlow from Bermuda is Love. Let's give him a warm TDH welcome. Oops, that's the horn. Sorry. We saw you put down the street trying to hitch a ride. We were honking to you up. Catch you next time. But
No, that was the Bermudian greeting. That was the perfect sound.
That's what it was. Forgive us, Aaron. How are you, brother?
I'm all right. How are you?
We're good. As you can see, we have a lot of fun on this show, and try to keep it smiling and doing our part to through everything that's going on in our community to smile and inform and entertain. But first of all, thanks for doing this. We know it's tough doing these shows early in the morning, but unless people are living under a rock, Bermuda is Love is everywhere. And we don't say everywhere because there are a lot of people that are everywhere and doing absolutely nothing. Some people go to work for 8 hours a day and produce absolutely no work, but you guys are literally doing the work. Funny because I think Roger did this purposely, but we were talking about community. What do we need to do to ensure that we're doing the work for our present day community? And I think you guys are doing that, right? You're literally doing what the conversation was about, which again was likely purposely done because Roger's brain works like that. But for those who may not know, just let us know, remind people what Bermuda is Love is. Like what are your beginnings and what is the purpose of the organization?
Right. So ultimately the goal was to build community. That is the foundational principle that we set out to do, was to get people together to make changes in Bermuda to address the social and economic inequality specifically. And that was to do with, trash pollution, climate change, homelessness, food insecurity, various issues in our community. And so building community meant bringing people together to think about how we as a group could make change. And so that began in around the summer 2020. We had started doing lots of trash cleanups around the island. So with my friend One Day Smith and Get It Green Bermuda, and then various friends from Courtney Clay, Aaron Woods, Eli Smith, Andre Trutt, Shari Rowden, we all came together to do weekly cleanups, trash cleanups around the island. And so we would put it on social media and get people to come together to address the specific issue of trash pollution in order to build that community around how can we solve this issue of trash pollution around our island. And then it further developed into what else could we do. And through that success of getting individuals together, we were able to spread off, and we did monthly blood drives, we did clothing drives, we clothing giveaways, we volunteered at different food programs like Christchurch Work and the Cathedral, we volunteered at different housing shelters like the Transformational Living Center, Teen Haven, Home. We have a community garden at T and Tatum that we sent up to try to address food, to just teach people how to grow their own food. We have a free legal clinic now, and we have a scholarship program that we've done last year and this year. So it's all about for us trying to, now I guess through its growth, we've created, our goal is to advocate and ensure that people's basic needs are recognized as human rights, that people have guaranteed access to food, clothing, housing, healthcare, education, justice, and an overall healthy environment. So each of our events are meant to speak to a different right like that.
And props to you all. And I like how it was just a group of people and friends that came together for one thing, and one thing led to another. I remember the episode, I think either you were on the show or Maya conducted a conversation interview with you, and you spoke about clothing, and in particular was a brand, Shein, right? I had literally found out about Shein like months before and ordered something, and all of those clothes are actually in the trash because it just wasn't good quality. But when you, I always say when it comes to this show, the great thing about me, my mind can be changed. I always use the example when I was a delegate in the PLP, and they were talking about legalizing or decriminalizing marijuana at the time, and your boy was like, heck no way, da, da, da. And over the years, through education and information, my stance changed. But my mind changed very fast with you, because I thought that no, getting these cheap clothes, was best if you couldn't afford things. When it probably makes more sense to get quality clothes and wear the same shirt every day. And that was something that you taught me. So I want to literally give you guys your props for simply educating through conversation with something like that. And my hope is that more and more people will understand it's not bashing the clothing brand. It's educating you as to why you should try other brands instead. So thank you for that. And I want to transition, because you mentioned how you moved from the original goal, which was just, keeping Bermuda beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're currently conducting a Housing for All campaign, which Maya has shared a lot of the dates and different things that are going on.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you feel this is a necessary focus right now for your group?
For me in particular, I would say that I first learned about the problem of homelessness in university, to be honest. And it spoke to me because in my degree, they talked about the problem of homelessness being a civil rights issue or a political issue, or a freedom issue, a liberty issue, in the sense that people who are experiencing homelessness aren't able to participate fully in society because because they have a lack of a house, they have a lack of address, not able to vote, not able to fully participate in society, not able to open a bank account. They have a lack of place to eat, to sleep, to bathe, to exist in safety. And they have dangers from the weather, to lack of a protection against disease, to danger itself, to hunger, to loneliness, to isolation, to the stigma of just being homeless. So it's a fundamental problem. And for me, how homelessness is one of the biggest issues in society. If we really want to create a holistic society, or a free society, truly, that where everyone is fully able to participate in not just in civic life and political life, but able to fully achieve their dreams and the goals, having or not having a house, it can be one of the biggest detriments to one able to thrive and survive even. So for me, I think it's a big issue. And so for this campaign in particular, which we're trying to just talk about what the problem of homelessness is, and then talk about the solutions, the challenges, how people can get involved, and then also part of it for us is to advocate it as a human right. So housing as a human right. What does that look like? How can we implement it in legislation? How can people get involved in the community? And really, how can we end homelessness in Bermuda for good?
Definitely. I just want to very quickly give my props as well. In addition to Jamel's, I think Bermuda is Love is an extraordinary organization, and there's no need to even call it a youth organization. It's an organization, And the work that you all are doing, it's not just going out to do things to feel good or for the fun of it. I mean, I saw you, remember, I saw you at the Bermuda Festival that night, and I was just gushing, just like, I love you guys' work. And it's not just going out to do feel good things. You guys are trying to cultivate a culture. You are literally going, you as a generation, like you guys felt the void, the vacuum of community breaking down, and you just responded to it. You have responded to it and continue to respond to it by building community in very profound, very intentional ways. So like, thank you, right? Because it's that kind of work that's going to save Bermuda, like quite literally. So thank you.
I think for Bermuda at least, or in many parts of and just the world globally, I think housing or homelessness has just hadn't been given that priority that it should have been. So for me, I see housing as, in the same vein as education is. That's how valuable it should be. So for me, we have, the Ministry of Education, we have the public education system. For me, it should be the same for housing, for food, for clothing, for healthcare, for justice, for environment. Those things are basic needs that we need in society that allow people not just to survive, but in order to thrive and fully participate. Because I think one of the reasons that that the community has been failing, or that we haven't seen as much traction to like these types of events you mentioned, Jamal, like the community versus like the more entertainment types of things, is because people simply, part of it, they just don't care, but they don't have the time to care as well, because they have to worry about their basic needs being met. You have to go to work, and then once you're done working, you don't want to think about the homeless issue. You have your own issues to deal with, right? So it's really tough to deal with. And so for us, this month is definitely all about showing that homelessness is an issue. It should be prioritized in government, in communities, in organizations, and everyone in Bermuda should be caring about what they can do.
I can't hear you, Jamel. Having a slight issue.
Oh, sorry. That was very important language that you just used. And I hope that people really, really absorb everything you just said. There are some people who just can't give back and help because they're absorbed with what they have going on. So I'm glad you said that, because it takes away the blame game, if that makes sense. Raj, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's like that idea that, people don't have time for a quote unquote resistance struggle, right? Because you're too busy trying to survive. I'm not sure this is an example of resistance struggle. And like, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I'm sure everyone's heard, right? So physiological needs on the bottom, then safety needs, then love and belonging, then self-esteem and self-actualization. If the stuff on the bottom isn't being met, you can't get to the stuff on the top. So if you're worrying about where you're trying to lay your head at night, and I mean, Aaron said it so well, there's no way you're going to be able to cultivate the life or the identity that you want to. So making sure your basic needs are met, of course, that should be legislated somehow and reflected in government services. Before I ask you that question, I actually want to share a very, very quick story. I lost my job suddenly 2 years ago, and I was very, very close to being homeless. It is very easy to become homeless in Bermuda, especially if you're out here living paycheck to paycheck. And the only reason why I wasn't homeless is because I had a very understanding landlord, right? And all things work together for good. It wasn't a coincidence. I was working with a Catalyst Consulting, Martha Dismont, and Home was working with them too. And they did this study. Were collecting data for this homelessness study. And so I was a part of a team of people who had the opportunity to go out and interview members of the housing insecure and homeless community. I think I got to speak to about 27 participants of the survey, and it was the most humbling. And as somebody who was like on the verge of homelessness, right? I don't think it was a coincidence. It was the most humbling and eye-opening thing I have ever done in this country, because I thought I understood. I really thought I understood, but it opened up a window into an experience in this country that is right there in front of us. But because it's stigmatized, because we think it's their fault that they're on the street like that, etc., we ignore this community and also this social and economic experience, right? Which is to our detriment. Sorry, next question. What do you hope this campaign is able to do for the homeless and those facing homelessness?
Yeah, so main goal that we have is education. Education is ultimately the focus of the campaign. So we started with events, so focusing on how can we get people together, and then from that it became how can we educate other people, bring more social awareness to the issues that we thought were important. And so we hope that people pay attention, that they tune into these types of interviews. We had a panel discussion last night with Minister Tanae Farbert, with Denise Carey from HERM, with Nicholas Darcieux from Dignity House, and Paul Martin from Bermuda Housing Corporation. And they talked about their experiences and how they're working together to create this plan with community support and how we can end homelessness in Bermuda. So it's just all about awareness. We post on social media, our infographics, and various events that we have created. We're volunteering at Transformation Living Center, we're at Teen Haven on Saturday, and then Salvation Army on the 28th. And then we have a free legal advice clinic on the 24th. So it's just about awareness about what exactly is the problem that we're facing. What does it look like? What does homelessness look like? It's not just not just those people living on the streets, living on tents, but it's also those in overcrowded spaces. It's those living on people's sofas or in poor conditions, out of cars. Those types of situations. Homelessness comes in various different situations. It's complex. It's caused by poverty, by lack of affordable housing, by mental health, drug abuse. It's a complex problem. And so for us, it's just raising awareness about what those problems are, and then what is it that, or how can you get involved as an individual? What organizations can you volunteer at? How can you, there's a community engagement perception survey that the government and HERM have created that you can give your feedback on as an individual. It's at forum.gov.bm, so you can learn about or give your own input into how you think homelessness can be ended in Bermuda. And so for us, that's the main goal that we're doing, and hopefully it's it has enough. For me, I think it's at the panel last night, for example, there were talk about some of the members of the community as well. The panel members mentioned that there was a lack of people there, and the room was not full. More people should have been there. But I think this is the beginning of the conversation, and so it takes effort to get people to care. It really does. And so through these conversations that they just keep happening, and more input, people have these discussions themselves, in their own families, in their own homes, in their own workplaces, see how they can get involved. And so that's our main goal. And I think it's been a success through, I remember when I first started, we would have events like a trash cleanup, volunteering at a housing shelter, and it might just be me and one other person. And so it was depressing sometimes, because it felt like people don't care, and I'll be my heart be broken. So, but now I would say that we have reached, a good platform in the Bermudian society. People know they care. Like, people do care. Like, I get calls almost every day about how we can get involved, how we can help, and so I think the community is growing.
Let me just jump in because we are running out of time, but we have a question from Mark Arthur C. Phillips. He's asking, Mr. Crichlow, do you believe the IB sector add to the problem of affordable housing in Bermuda?
I would say absolutely. I think from my own knowledge, the IB sector creates economic inequality in of itself, right? Because you have those who make such a high income, because the Bermuda's economic industry is all centered around IB. Those who earn and live in IB have very good wages and drive the house, cost of everyone up. And for those who aren't in IB, who don't work in international business, it's very difficult. And so, like, for example, in the free housing clinics, free legal clinics, and even just in my own work experience, there's people who aren't in IB, people who are living just, other types of jobs, literally any type of job besides IB. It can be very, very difficult to make ends meet, and which is why, we have this reaction to the cost of living in Bermuda, because almost everybody is affected by it.
Yeah. Just go through a few comments before we head out. But the Chico Trot says, the Bermuda College Faculty Association thoroughly enjoyed collaborating with Bermuda's Love to co-host the enlightening and timely discussion last night, focusing on housing for all. And Michael Daniels says, I was at the forum last night. I want to give your props to your group. I would like to speak to you if you are open to that. So
you're going to just say my email is bermudaslove@gmail.com. You can contact me.
Is Bermuda spelled out? Bermuda is love?
Yes, Bermuda is love.
Bermuda is love@gmail.com. So check him out. Charles H. Jeff II says, with Bermuda is Love and Bermuda Youth Connect, I believe there is hope for the future of Bermuda. Are there any aspirations for these organizations to take their community leadership to politics?
I hope so, sorry.
Go ahead. Give it to me.
That's always a tough question, but definitely, I think ultimately that is the end goal. We have our own things own goals and outcomes that we want to see first before that happens. We want to continue to build community, because I'll be honest, I don't think Bermuda's ready for Bermuda's love in the political arena. So I think right now it's just focused on education. And so once we feel more confident that our ideas will be received supportively, then we're more than ready. But that's definitely something that's definitely in our plans, in our goals. And I think it's ultimately is something that has to happen eventually.
Indeed. I don't know. I mean, the original Nelson Mandela, and I mean pre going to prison when he was labeled a terrorist and everything by people like Margaret Thatcher, wasn't a politician. Dr. King wasn't a politician. Malcolm X wasn't a politician. I guess the point I'm making is activists don't have to become politicians to bring about the change that our community needs. So I don't like when people put pressure on young people and groups as if politics should be the end goal. If that's what you want to do, great. But politics takes away from activism. It has, as it's proven. Once people get in these positions, things change. Now, my hope was that you can be, is the word an anomaly? But you can be the group that changes that perspective. And if you do evolve into politics, that you carry the values that you have from where you are today into that space. But right now, education and impact and change the way you're doing, I think is a perfect way to go. But I wouldn't want to put pressure on anyone who's out there making a difference as if politics should be their end goal. Go ahead, Rod. Sorry.
No. I mean, I completely agree with all of that. And, Teray made this, and apologies, my laptop. Teray made this point just now. There is hope if our efforts aren't thwarted. We appreciate the support. If people don't know, Teray is one of the founders and lead organizers of Bermuda Youth Connect. She's absolutely brilliant. Believe she's going for her PhD at some point, as she should. Look forward to you, Dr. Toll. We appreciate the support, but politicians often discourage us and have been quite inappropriate to BYC. You can help us by supporting us among older generations. And, I will say this to that. I'm still a young person. I'm 33. And, despite the fact that I have 2 children, one's almost 10, I have been in many, many different spaces where I have had older folk condescend to me ridiculously, right? And when you are a young person in Bermuda, and I do believe we have an anti-youth culture in Bermuda. I do think we have an ageist culture in Bermuda, but it's ageist towards as young people, not as older people. And when you are a young person and you're on the right side of something, you're pushing against culture, systemic cultures and mindsets that have been embedded for decades. You're going to ruffle feathers. You're going to piss people off. But if you're on the right side of things and you can demonstrate that, you keep going until you get the result that you know should be. And the example that I'm going to use is education reform. I have been making a lot of noise in education reform. I have been publicly quiet lately because I've been doing a lot more privately and quietly because, we're making headway on certain things. I have pissed people off. I have heard the things that have been said to me in meetings, said about me in meetings have gotten back to me. I will continue to ruffle feathers. I will continue to piss people off because I am on the right side of things, and we have to continue pursuing those goals. So to Ray's point, people are going to push back, and especially older folk. But guess what? Change comes with some tension.
Yeah. No, Raj. I mean, you know it from education reform, me from conscription. And my only advice is do not be discouraged by politicians. Use that. Be encouraged by it. Be inspired by it and keep pushing. One last question as we have to head out, Aaron. But what would you say to people who, just to encourage them to be more empathetic to those who are homeless or facing homeless?
Yeah. I think our language in Bermuda can be changed. So lots of times we call the homeless bums and things like that. So I think one of the easiest ways that we as a community can change is just to say those experiencing homelessness, don't quote, it's a stigma to say that they're homeless or that they're a bum or, vagrant or whatever it might be. And then in terms of being just more empathetic, that's ultimately what Bermuda's Love is trying to do, is shift the culture. So how we do that is meant to be by leading through example, through the events. So I think one of the easiest ways to really understand the problem that we're facing is to volunteer or to talk to someone that is actually experiencing homelessness, to make it more relatable, to understand what they're going through. Just volunteering at a food program, a food bank, at a housing shelter. You talk to people and you experience the same. So,
sorry.
I think that is the best ways that we can learn to be empathetic, is to put ourselves in their shoes, in the other people's shoes, and physically, help them and so yeah, I think that's
no problem. We have to head out now, but I just have one last question for you from Chelsea. Just a second. He says, well, only an elderly person would ask a question like this, but that's neither here nor there. Is there an age restriction to join in with Bermuda's Love and BYC?
Bermuda's Love, I can answer, is all our events are free to attend. So we've had people as, I'm sure older than you, Mr. Charles, attend our events.
I don't know about that.
So we've had people as young as, 5 attend our events. So it's meant to be as inclusive and collaborative as possible. And that's the best way. And Terea mentioned intergenerational, connection, so that we can talk to each other. What is the older generation thinking? What's the younger generation thinking? I'm getting older. Rajay is getting older. We're getting older. So we have to keep our ties, talking to other people, because that's the best way that we can really.
They're not discriminating against the elderly like yourself, Mr. Jaffas. But no, Aaron, thank you so much. We have to head out now, but it's been great. BermudaIsLove@gmail.com, correct? That's the email for you?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Please keep doing what you're doing. If there's anything we can do on this show, just keep us informed, and we'll be happy to make sure that we're spreading the word for you. Have a wonderful day, Aaron.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Aaron Crichlow, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like if you appreciated that conversation. Make sure you share it. Aaron said something I want to highlight real fast before we go to break is, and I encourage young people, do not become discouraged if only 5 people show up to your event. Do not become discouraged if only 10 people are listening to your conversation or watching your video. Be concerned when people start liking your social media posts, but not showing up when it matters. But keep pushing and keep going. We're going to take our final break. Come back. Daily Play, and we'll wrap today's conversation up. Stick with us.
Ordering from ER Fisheries has just gotten simpler. With just a few clicks of a button, you can place an order for next-day delivery or same-day pickup. Our ever-expanding list of offerings now include grocery pantry items, specialty meats, and bread and dairy items. We know things have been hard, and we're here to make planning for your next meal or party easy. Whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, we have what you're looking for. And best of all, it can be delivered to your door in 24 hours or less. Go to www.erfisheries.bm and check out our wide range of seafood, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and plant-based products, all available at reasonable prices. That's www.erfisheries.bm.
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Aaron Crichlow for the conversation. Honestly, really enjoyed Bermuda's Love, Bermuda Youth Connect. These groups give me hope. As someone said in the comments, they should give all of us hope. Teray, Ajay, Veronica, Haley, Aaron, and I forget all the people he named in Bermuda is Love, but I think he's the only one been on this show. But thank you to them. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical Office Lenders, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can have these conversations with you on a daily basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Rajay Denbrook, are you ready?
More or less.
Okay, more or less. He's ready.
My thinking eyebrow up. Put it right up there. There we go. No, I'm thinking.
Okay, let's get a question up. Okay, here we go. Oh, in 7 days, what did Mary J say they did on Tuesday?
Yeah, well, I don't know what she was doing on that day of the week. Bless you. Yeah, I mean, her dance. Maybe she was doing that. I don't.
Yeah, in 7 days, what did Mary J say they did on Tuesday? The answer is we played a game.
Oh, dang, come on.
Mark Arthur C. Phillips. It was actually the first multiple choice one we've had. It was A, we went away. B, we played a game. C, we came back. Or D, we wanted to have, yeah. So, yeah, it was B, we played a game.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, see, Stacey Ann Brown got it after. Yeah, she got it. So look, let's have the conversation. Let's wrap it up. We are out of time, but Raj, final thoughts on today's discussion on values, and then obviously the conversation with Aaron Crichlow from Bermuda is Love.
You know, community is a reality, whether we want to engage with it or not. When we don't engage with community, community breaks down, and we see the consequences of that. I think we're living the consequences of that right now. I believe at one point, Bermuda had an incredible sense of community. I think that our social, political, economic, and ideological landscape was unified most of this country, and I do mean Black people, in a way where they had to work together. So we had the friendly societies, we had the social clubs. But now that we're in 2023, those dynamics have shifted, and we have to redefine what it means to work together in order to elevate and to address, our highest good and what we need to do. And you have organizations like Bermuda is Love, like Bermuda Youth Connect, and there was another one, but I can't remember right now, who felt this and acknowledged this, at least on an intuitive level, and have responded to it in a very intentional way. And in order for us to address the atrophication of community in this country, it's gonna take intention, and it's gonna take a level of awareness and humility that we hitherto have not operated with. So we need to humble ourselves, look ourselves in the mirror, and go, how am I a part of community breaking down? And also, how can I be a part of reestablishing community for 2023 going forward?
Indeed. Raj, echoing everything you said, I think, I say it all the time, we're only going to be as strong, powerful, and successful as and I don't want to say weakest, but most vulnerable amongst us. And it's imperative that we find ways to, and time to put in the effort to ensure that those around us have a safe space. And safe space, I like how he said that it's a human right to have a place to live, shelter, food. Those are things that everyone should have a right to. And we have to find ways to rid ourselves of the stigmas of homelessness. What we've learned on this show is that homelessness is not just someone who's living outdoors or in the streets or in the trees or whatnot. It could be someone who is living on house to house or on someone's couch or floor or something like that. It is an issue. And I appreciated Aaron's honesty, his honesty when it came to the IB smackdown that plays in homelessness. Going backward, I think as far as community, what we can do to improve our community present day, we need to love each other like our family and our friends and our grandparents used to love each other. Love doesn't mean telling each other. It means looking out for each other. It means ensuring that, you know what, if you need someone to help you lay brick, you don't have to pay someone that we can help you lay brick, right? We need to bring back the sense of community. We know time is precious, but if everyone gave a little, all of us would have so much more. Raj, you got some daily inspiration for us?
Yes. There's a quote on community. Community is important because there is an understanding that human beings are collectively oriented. The general health and well-being of an individual are connected to a community and are not something that can be maintained alone or in a vacuum.
All right, thank you for that. And who's the author of that one?
It's from the same book, The Healing Wisdom of Africa, and it's written by Melodomo Crichlow. He is I think he's an initiated shaman in his tradition, and he's also a double PhD.
All right, cool. And that is your ER Fishers and Foods daily inspiration for the day. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Roger Denbrook. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.